And we are back. Welcome to my preview and predictions for the FA Cup semi-finals taking place over the next couple of days. Before we get into it, if you haven't done so, please do drop a like on this video if you do enjoy my prediction series. And don't forget to check out yesterday's video where we covered all 7 Premier League games taking place over the next couple of days. You can see that by clicking the link at the top of your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on, because not only are we doing FA Cup semi-finals this week, we are doing all of the European semi-finals over Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. As for today though, these are the 2 FA Cup semi-finals taking place today and tomorrow. In the quarter-finals, we got 3 out of 4. The only one we got wrong was Brighton and Nottingham Forest. We correctly predicted all the other teams to progress, which means we are over 2/3 in terms of correct predictions so far in this FA Cup. So I'm very happy with how I've performed. Without any further ado though, let's get straight into it. The opening game, tonight's game in the FA Cup, both games being played at Wembley, is Crystal Palace taking on Aston Villa. Palace got here by winning 3-0 away from home at Fulham. Villa got here by winning 3-0 away at Preston. So 2 very good away performances in the quarterfinals from both of these Premier League teams. Obviously, all 4 teams now from the Premier League, all of the Championship and below sides are now eliminated. In terms of what has happened since then, though, it has been rather fascinating. Crystal Palace are actually on a 4-game winless run coming into this one, although they did draw away to Arsenal in midweek after drawing at home to Bournemouth with 10 men. So maybe take that stat with a little bit of a pinch of salt. They are 4 games without a win, but they're not necessarily playing badly at the moment. Aston Villa have had an absolutely incredible time since their quarter-final. They, of course, had those 2 legs against Paris Saint-Germain, where they went down in that last-minute goal in the first leg. Incredible comeback in the second leg, but not quite enough. They're on an incredible run in the Premier League, which, of course, included beating Newcastle 4-1 at home last weekend. But they did succumb to a 2-1 defeat to Manchester City in midweek, thanks to a very, very late winner. So they're going to be feeling a little bit disheartened coming into this one. But like I say, I think at the moment Villa should definitely be considered the favourites based on the form. What about the team news, though? Well, what I can say is Crystal Palace did not play their full first team against Arsenal, as expected. Yes, the likes of Mateta did come on in the second half, who scored that unbelievable chip to make it 2-2 in that game. So we expect Crystal Palace to be back to their full first team for this one. Aston Villa, I think, again, you will expect them to make changes. It seems that they're still flip-flopping between their strikers, but it looks pretty intentional at the moment. Obviously, Watkins played very well against Newcastle last weekend. Rashford came in against City and put in a good performance. The expectation is that Watkins now comes back into the starting lineup for Aston Villa. Again, no fresh injury or suspension concerns for either side coming into this semi-final. The final thing to note is the head-to-head record is really, really strong in Crystal Palace's favour. In the Premier League so far this season, it was a 4-1 victory for them at Selhurst Park. It was a 2-2 draw at Villa Park. And not only that, when these 2 sides met in the EFL Cup, the League Cup, all the way back in October, Crystal Palace went to Villa Park and beat them as well. So they're unbeaten in 3 games against Aston Villa so far this season. So that may convince people to sway a little bit more in Crystal Palace's favour. However, I just think with how good Aston Villa have looked in big matches over the last few weeks, not only that, the size of the Wembley pitch, I think, favours Villa's more experienced, sort of high-level players. You know the ones I mean, the likes of Asensio and Rashford potentially if he comes off the bench, and Tielemans and all that. I just think the game suits Aston Villa's players a little bit more than Crystal Palace's. So I'm going for a 2-1 victory for Aston Villa in 90 minutes. But don't get me wrong, I can definitely see this one going all the way to extra time and potentially penalties if Palace can get their defensive organisation right. Speaking of going the distance and going all the way to penalties, Nottingham Forest have won the last 3 rounds of this competition via penalty shootouts, which is a rather impressive feat, if we're being honest. Obviously, getting the win away at Brighton on penalties in the last round. Manchester City got a much better performance and result away from home themselves. They won 2-1 away at Bournemouth. It actually means that all 4 sides that have got to these semi-finals got through their quarter-finals by winning away from home. I don't know how many times that's happened, but for me, that is quite an impressive stat. Since then, City have won 3 of the last 4, which is actually their last 3 matches. So City come into this on a very good run of form, obviously, as we just mentioned, off the back of that last-minute winner from Mateus Nunes against Aston Villa in midweek. Nottingham Forest aren't actually on the best run of form at all. They lost their previous 2 prior to then winning away at Spurs last week, but that is a Spurs side whose concentration and focus is not set on the Premier League at the moment. So Nottingham Forest capitalised on their basic lack of care over that match. And like we say, I just don't think Forest are quite at it at the moment. The big news for them, though, is that their drop-off has come with the absentee of Ola Aina at right back. And all the reports I'm seeing are suggesting that Aina will be back and able to start this game for Nottingham Forest at Wembley at the weekend, which could be a huge opportunity for them. Obviously, these two both higher up in the table than the other 2 sides playing on Saturday. Forest currently sit 4th. City currently sit 3rd. City are 1 point ahead of Nottingham Forest, but Forest do have a game in hand, which they're playing on Thursday night. So, realistically, Forest should be considered the team higher in the table coming into this, but we shall see. In terms of the head-to-head record, it's actually been a win for Forest at home and a win for City at home. So, both sides have been very strong at home, both by scorelines to nil as well. Forest won 1-0 at home, City won 3-0 at home. Obviously, we know City don't have a lot of their key players available for this one. Their entire spine of their team. Ederson's still out, Stones is still out, Rodri's still out, Haaland's still out. So there are definitely things to suggest that Forest are going to win this, or certainly get a result from this. I think, as I've just said, both sides have won at home. It stands to reason that on neutral ground, between 2 sides that are separated by just 1 point in the Premier League, that a draw is probably the most likely scenario for 90 minutes. So I'm going for a 1-1 draw. I do, though, think Manchester City are the favourites. So even though Forest have won the last 3 rounds on penalties, I'm still backing Manchester City to be the side that progresses to the final at Wembley next month. That's just the way I see it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Let me know anything you think I've missed regarding this game. Thank you very much for watching. I'll be back on Monday morning for my Champions League semi-final first leg predictions. I'll see you there.